All right, fellas. Woo! What a week! What a bye-week episode here. Chiefs are 5-4. We said it was the most important game, regular season game in the Patrick Mahomes era, and I'll be frank with you, I did not believe we'd be sitting here with a loss. Did not. I felt really good about that. Are we live? Are we live, Stephen?
We are live.
Holy cow! This is.
I guess I forgot to mention that part.
And I want to apologize as well. I don't think I've ever said "holy cow" in my life, like and been serious until this moment. So maybe I'm.
It's a bye week, and I thought, why not? Let's just do Show and BK live, and then the podcast listeners can still catch it tomorrow morning.
Can we let anybody know that we were going
maybe
live?
We'll do this live moving forward if you guys like it. We'll see.
So this is so we just like dropped the Beyonce album and nobody knows. Like we gave no hints. we just dropped an album.
You just got to be there for the moment.
All right. Well, as I look at it now, we got one person live with us. So whoever that one person is, shout out to you.
That's just Serda monitoring.
Shout out to us. All right. I listen, like I said, man, I do want to get to hey, now we got to deal with what we talked about. But as I said, a lot happening, including the Raiders and the Broncos. Since we are live, we could just be all out. It's 7-7. The Raiders are going to make me mad. I know they are. I know they're going to make me mad. They should be up by multiple scores right now, and they are not. And I'm just now letting my son know that I've made an executive decision by benching Ashton Genty from his fantasy team. And so he did score a touchdown, but that does not count for you today because instead we have a different running back in. So sorry about that. But I mean, he hadn't done anything in weeks, but I know they're going to frustrate me.
He's got to learn the hard way. Yeah, sometimes fantasy's heartbreaking. All right.
Yeah. We went in a different direction. That's all right. We got old Jutkins in there instead, but hopefully we'll see. But the trade deadline. This also occurred this week as well. The trade deadline, and I've listened to a lot of people. I've heard us talk about it. I heard Nate Taylor hit me with the listen. This is like last year with the receiver. You know they're going to get a receiver. It's just a matter of when. It's everyone in the league knows they're gonna. I thought we were going to see the Chiefs get a defensive lineman. I thought that was clear. And then especially coming off of the Buffalo game and how that went down, I thought for sure we would see it. Although when we get into that, I think there is a little nuance to that conversation. But anyway, I thought we see a D lineman, and I guess they said their move was Mike Pennell because they didn't do. We heard some rumors, some other things. You see Phillips go to Philly. You see the Ravens get an edge rusher from Tennessee. I guess I'll kick it off with this, BK. Shut up, son. Did the Chiefs screw up? Did they F up by not going to go get somebody? Should they have made a move? Is this a regret that they didn't go and make a move? And do they got enough? Do they got enough to get to where they need to get to?
They messed up. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not too big of a fan to say it. They screwed up here. I don't think that you can look at what they have on the defensive line right now and think to yourself, we're fine. Everything's fine. Feeling good about it. Because it's not fine, man. This defensive line as currently constructed is not good enough. Chris Jones is not otherworldly the way that he has been for most of his career. George Karlaftis has been solid, but he's not an all-pro. He's not a number one pass rusher in the NFL. He's not paid like one, by the way. I've seen a lot of people bring up his contract. He is playing like a $20 million pass rusher, and that's what he's paid as. So he's fine. He's just not a number one guy. And then you have nobody else. You have nobody else to be able to pick up where Tershawn Wharton left off a year ago, where he's just a really nice
Is that who they're missing?
It feels like it. That's the guy that was able to pick up some of the slack a year ago, and they don't have anybody to replace it right now. So should they have traded for Quinnen Williams? Yeah, but not for a first and a second round pick.
Well, hold on. I was going to say, hold on now.
I would love to have Quinnen Williams, not at that cost. Should they have traded for Joe Tryon? I don't think that changes much. Keon White, I would have been interested for a 6th round pick. That would have been of interest to me. The two that really could have actually changed something for you, though, Draymond Jones, a conditional 5th round pick, was traded to the Baltimore Ravens. He's not great. He adds another body that consistently gets to like 5 or 6 sacks. And right now for this team, that's useful. And he can play up and down the defensive line. He is just a helpful piece. And the guy that really changes things for you was Jalen Phillips, who was traded to the Eagles for a 3rd round pick. And the Chiefs seemingly decided we're not giving up a top 100 pick for anybody this year. We're unwilling or unable, depending on your perspective, to do that. 4th round pick or bust, that's what we're willing to give. So I think they messed up. I would have liked to have seen them trade for either Jalen Phillips or Draymond Jones. I think those guys tangibly changed the look of this pass rush.
How many of those guys fit Spags' scheme?
Both guys do. Both guys have the size, the speed, the athleticism, the ability to play against the run. Keon White has the size to do that as well. So the 3 edge rushers that were traded all have the requisite size to be able to play in this scheme.
Phillips and Jones just felt like stand-up 3-4 outside linebackers, and that seems to be what he doesn't like to get, like Josh Uche. To me, like I was thinking around the same things. I'm like, man, I know Washington got to be up on Jacob Martin. Like but I don't know if guys like that are the size of what he is looking for.
I mean, Draymond Jones is 280 pounds, and when he was with the Broncos, they would kick him inside. Like he could rush from the interior. So if you have the ability to do that, I'm pretty confident you could play in this game.
He fits.
It's Draymond Jones and Keon White, I think, were the most frustrating moves for me, because like those are Spags body types. Those are guys that can not only like have like a proven track record of being able to get after the passer a little bit. They're also good against the run. Like they're guys that you can move around the defensive line. And like Keon White especially feels like there's a player that still has like some potential that he hasn't totally like lived up to. And so he feels like the kind of player that's like, if he's in the right situation, like maybe he can turn that corner finally, because it was just a couple of years ago, the Patriots were hyping him up as like he was the best pass rusher on their team or something. And I just think it's really frustrating to hear that like all of the reports are like, oh, well, the Chiefs had an offer on the table for Breece Hall. And that's fine. Breece Hall would have been fun, I guess, if they go out and get it. But like we all know exactly what the biggest weakness of this team is right now. They've got a young secondary that I think has played even better than like we could ask for the most part, even though they're coming off of a tough performance against one of the NFL's most elite quarterbacks. But the biggest issue has been their ability to generate pressure up front, because Chris Jones has seemingly slowed down a little bit, and everybody else just isn't explosive. And what they've gotten by with in the past is, hey, we just have a lot of bodies to throw at you. And then when we need somebody to really make something happen, Chris Jones will go out there and make something happen. And if he's incapable of doing that, then we get into the blitzing stuff. And then we get into the stuff where it's like, yeah, that stuff works, but it's a lot better when you're not expecting it. When you're having to do it all of the time to generate pressure, that's when you get burned by it. And so the fact that there isn't even like any reports that the Chiefs were like actively shopping for somebody, especially after losing Omar Norman-Lott, it's really frustrating that the only thing we've heard about them having on the table was a 4th round pick offer for Breece Hall.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's kind of dive into it then, because you look at this, and yeah, I agree with you. I am shocked that they didn't get They didn't try to get somebody that says pass rusher, like specialty, somebody that has that ability. Because right now you look at it, it's Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Nadi, Dana, Ashton, Pennell, Tillery, Amenahue, right? Like that's where they're at. I know they signed Herring to the practice squad or whatever, but come on. That's where you at. Like how many guys there do you get the sense that you say, all right, I believe by January that there's an uptick in their play? Like how many of those guys do you sit there and you say, I think there is an uptick? You truly believe there's an uptick. Like we know what time it is with Nadi. We know what time it is with Mike Dana. We know what time it is with Pennell and Tillery. And I mean, I want to say there's an uptick potentially with Amenahue, but he's been looking like this, right? And you're waiting for the uptick. He used to just have his moments that would trick you and think, yeah, all right. But now those moments aren't few and far between. I think we have seen George get better as the year goes by, multiple others, like to a couple of other seasons. So maybe there's an uptick there, but still, I don't know if it's what you need. And then, obviously it feels like within Kansas City, people believe we have a real Chris Jones problem. And that, I mean, I've seen conversations of, is he washed? Or like we just heard Serda speak about Chris. First off, I'll say this: I don't think Chris Jones is washed.
I'm not saying that either.
No, I get you.
But he hasn't quite looked. He hasn't looked like the dominant game wrecker that he has been in the past.
And I don't think he is. I think we've reached a point where he is not consistently game in and game out, to use the word you use, dominating. He is absolutely a hugely useful piece. And if you think the pressure that they get is bad now, wait till he's not on the field. The thing is, before, double teams didn't always just mean stalemate. Double teams didn't always just mean, all right, that is a way we can get him out of the game. Because we see the moment that he gets to get one-on-one, the sack, the big sack in the second half was caused by him. And I would and I know this is just particular to that game. Again, to finish my Chris Jones point, I don't think he's washed. I don't think he's as terrible as everyone else does, or some are saying. I just don't think he has I can just dominate a game consistently I think there is a game he can dominate. I think he can dominate 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6. And I damn sure think he'll give you hell if you let him go one-on-one. But he's just not the one where it's just like, all right, man, Chris Jones is just going to take a possession. And he's gonna take a possession. He's not the guy that, all right, man, I feel like doing this like I did against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. But the thing is, he is getting these double teams every time, and there just has to be more winning being done from the other guys around him, or there's no reason to stop doing what they're doing. Because like we said, the minute he got one-on-one, he caused a sack and got his arms on Josh Allen, and then Leo was able to finish it off. So I'll start with that with the Chris Jones part. He's just not consistently dominant anymore.
He's not even like infrequently dominant though. Like he's almost never dominant anymore. And this is where the frustration comes in. Like Chris is paid $30 million a year to be dominant. He is paid to be one of the best players in the NFL. They have their entire pass rush plan is wrapped into Chris Jones, go be great. And that is in part because of the money that he makes. And so I understand maybe this feels unfair that we're putting so much on the shoulders of Chris Jones, but that is what happens when you pay somebody $30 million a year. That's the reality of it, man. And Chris is an all-world player. This is a future Hall of Famer. 2 years ago, prior to that contract extension, he had 10.5 sacks, and in that season, he had 13 tackles for loss. That was in 16 games. Ron, over the past 2 years now, this is 24 regular season games, he has 7 sacks and 14 tackles for loss. He has been less productive over the last 2 seasons combined as he was in 2023 in and of itself. And so, like, when you look at what's changed for the Chiefs pass rush over the last 2 years, it's that simple. Chris isn't Chris anymore. He's not what he once was. Is he still a good, productive player? Yeah, there are very few defensive tackles in the NFL that over a 2-year stretch can post 7 sacks and 14 TFLs and have the ability to force as many double teams as he does. So, like, he's a good player even today. But this is not a good enough player to have your pass rush plan completely built around the way that it was for the first, 7 years of his NFL career. So that's the difference. And that means that you have to kind of build more toward the Buffalo Bills plan, where they just have bodies coming at you all game long. None of them are great. None of them are A-plus players. But they have enough B and B-minus level players that are coming at you at the entirety of the game that they're able to rotate through these guys. They stay fresh, and they come at you from different angles. They come at you with different speeds. They come at you with different plans, and that's the way they're able to go about it. The Chiefs don't have that. The Chiefs right now lack the dominant player, and they lack the depth that is necessary to be a plus level pass rush. And so what you end up with is you're below average in that area. And that puts pressure on the linebackers. That puts pressure on the secondary. Everybody else has to elevate their game that much more. It puts pressure on Steve Spagnuolo. He has to call the game a little differently. So it's frustrating to me. I'm really disappointed. I do think they screwed up. I don't think there's anybody coming that changes this. And you asked the question of, hey, who's the guy that still has more in there? It has to be Chris. It has to be, because there's nobody else capable of giving mumuch more than what they currently have so far this year, in my opinion.
And I know, like, the pressure numbers, like, we keep seeing that, like, everybody's just jamming these pressure numbers down our throats for George, and, like, that's great. Pressure numbers are awesome, but it's not amounting to sacks because George isn't explosive. And so those pressure numbers, yeah, like, you move the quarterback off your spot and you get into the backfield or whatever, but that doesn't mean that pass didn't get completed. That doesn't mean that you got off the field. That doesn't mean that they didn't go pick up a first down. Like, yeah, you can get after the quarterback, but you have to finish those plays. And I think George is having a nice season. Like, he is doing exactly what we think George is capable of. And I feel like George is at his ceiling as a player right now. Like, Chris is the only one that has the difference-making ability in my mind. And that's why it's just even more frustrating when you think about, like, this being the plan. Because if the plan was, hey, maybe Omar Norman-Lott's really going to turn into something as we move forward this season, well, then you lose him. And then after you lose him, there's just no contingency plan for anybody else to come in and make an impact here. It's just frustrating because it's obviously the biggest glaring hole on this team right now.
And yeah, I'm not going to sit here at any point and say that Chris is the same player or consistently plays the same way that he does. He doesn't. But I also believe that even in that time when Chris was Chris, like, these guys were also winning more consistently when they got one-on-ones, whether it was Turk Warden, whoever was around him, whether it was George before. Charles Omenihu has played better than this, right? Like, I mean, like the guys around him, and I think it looks a lot worse. And there is no reason to, like, even when you move Chris to, and it seems like they move him around less. But anyway, even when you move Chris, like, I think it's all coming back. I think Chris has come back and is not as good or as dominant consistently as he was. But also within that, these guys are not winning around him.
I just want to say this. I think George is having the best year of his career. I think George has been awesome this year. By production, like you look at the sack numbers, he's on pace to get back to his career high in sacks. By tackles for loss, he's on pace to double his career high. Quarterback, like everything about his season thus far, just metrically, is better than he's been at any point. So I would push back on that part. The depth pieces, I hear you, Ron, and like I think some of that is Jordan, like Charles Omenihu is coming off of multiple injuries at this point. I just don't think he has the same juice that he once did. Mike Van, I don't know what's going on there. But like I think George has been every bit as good or better than he's been in previous seasons.
George is, but it's just in the way that George wins. Like George doesn't even this year, if you want to say it's his best year he's had, George doesn't win like it's a workman win, right? And when you combine the workman win with, you know, not consistently getting pushed from wherever Chris is, I just think it all worsens, right? I think it's a full thing across the board.
What would you have done, Ryan?
I would have gone after. I mean, I would have been like if you're aggressive after Breece Hall, then I think I'd be even more. I would check on the likes of like Thibodeau. I would check on the likes of like Danico Autry. I would check I would have been.
What about the guys that were moved? Like, let's say that this is all that there was. Like, let's go down the path that these were the defensive linemen that were available. The other guys, the cost was too exorbitant. They never could have made it happen. So if your options were Quinnen Williams, Joe Tryon, Keon White, Jalen Phillips, Draymond Jones, those were the guys, defensive linemen that were traded.
Well, yeah, I mean, Williams is too expensive, but I mean Phillips would be, you know, the one to maybe get aggressive, but I can see. I disagree with it. I think it's silly, but I can see how they could get to a point and be like, this doesn't really fit exactly what like I want bigger size. I don't want to stand up outside. I could see them getting to that point. But Phillips, just on paper for what they need, like he seems like the one out of all of the group that is like, all right, man, you're gonna get one-on-ones, and can you win one-on-ones? And I think of anybody in that group, I feel like he would fit that.
So our friends at 96.5, like they said that they were told the Chiefs, like in part, it was like the Chiefs didn't want to trade significant future draft picks because of contracts that are pending and that are coming up, and they're going to have to make some decisions. Like obviously Trent McDuffie, they have to get that deal done or decide if they're going to move him or something like that. I would prefer they bring Trent McDuffie back. Rashee Rice coming up fast all of a sudden. And now we know how important he is to this offense. So like, yes, they have big deals coming up on top of the fact that they just paid Karlaftis, Bolton, Creed, Trey. And then what are they going to do with if Travis Kelce wants to keep running it back? I'm sure he'll take a discount or whatever. And then Chris Jones, like inevitably you have to make a decision on this stuff. And it feels like I understand that. And you want to make sure you're just always competitive with Patrick Mahomes and you don't ever put yourselves in these situations where you have this like massive talent deficit or something like that. But it does feel like this is the best year in my mind where it's like, maybe this is the window. Like maybe this is the window and we're seeing it come to an end with Kelce and Jones and Mahomes and this core nucleus of Hall of Famers. And so it's like, if you're ever going to give up a first round pick for a player, like why not have it be this year in my mind to put you over the top?
Yeah, I can't get with that because Mahomes is not at the end. So I don't need to give up an over the top because like for me, I don't think we're in death mode, like the way that you just explained it. Like it's almost over. I don't.
But it's the end of an era. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's let it rip. They've done a really good job of drafting. It's okay.
The era
honestly, they've been better at drafting outside of the first round anyway.
The era is 30. So no. I also think too that this is a perfect storm because I still don't believe this. Going back, because we just talked about the defensive line and everything, but going back, still within this, I still think they are good enough to get to where they want to get to, even though they didn't make a move, and as annoying as it is, and I think they made a mistake, but I don't think it's a mistake that kills their chances of getting where they want to get to. They're just going to have to figure it. They're going to have to figure things out. I mean, they're still 4th in the league in total points given up this season. I just wonder for many people, and many people, hell, we're live right now. I see people hitting us up. It feels like a perfect storm because before the Bills game, did you think, man, this pass rush, we can't win a championship with this pass rush? Like, yeah. Did you thought we can't? You thought we cannot win a championship? Like this, the way that the Colts people may think, man, we can't win a championship with Daniel Jones. The way that Buffalo fans may think, but I don't know if we can win a championship with this defense. You thought that this team, like, we can't win a championship. They won't be able to figure things out to that they can't win a championship. I never thought that. And I think the Buffalo game, the way the Buffalo game happened, I feel like that's crept in a big time thing and bright lights for people. And I think it was a perfect storm in a lot of different ways. I think if you go back and watch that game, you clearly could tell they rushed the passer with the way that you have to try to rush the passer with Josh. Like, there was a lot of hard rushing stops and trying to keep them in. You know how successful the Bills were doing that to Pat. Like, I watched that multiple times. They didn't just go after him like you would normally. They were rushing and stopping. So it also looked like they were more in trying to corral him than they were actually trying to get to him at times. So that it looks frustrating. I just think it was a perfect storm of how it looked against them.
So to answer your question directly, like, they can't win a Super Bowl with this pass rush. No, you can win a Super Bowl because you have Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's the opposite of the Daniel Jones conversation. I don't believe the Colts can win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. Flat out reject the idea of getting through this version of the AFC with that guy at the quarterback position.
Man, you really meant that.
I think what they did was crazy. Giving up multiple first-round picks for a corner and locking yourself into Daniel Jones at probably $40 million a year, and not having draft capital to be able to continue to invest in your team around him, that's one of the most asinine trades I've ever seen in the NFL. But we'll get to that at a later date. I think the Chiefs, if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it will be because of the defensive line. That would be the way that I would frame it. Is if we end up having a post-mortem on this thing, we get to the AFC Championship, divisional, whatever it may be, and they lose that game, on November 6th of 2025, my belief is that the reason they will lose that game will at least be in part because they failed to invest in the defensive line at the trade deadline, because they don't have the pass rush necessary to be able to beat some of these teams they're going to have to go up against. So can they do it? Yeah, they've got Patrick Mahomes, they've got Andy Reid, like they can do it. If they don't, it'll be in part because they failed to add this trade deadline, when I am of the belief they should have traded for a guy like Draymond Jones at a minimum. It was a 5th round pick, man. I know they want to have these draft picks moving forward. That's a day 3 pick. Just go out there and give that up. It's $1 million. It's a day 3 pick. He is somebody that can help you. They traded for Melvin Ingram. He helped. They picked up Terrell Suggs on waivers. He helped. This is that kind of addition. It is in line with what they've done in the past. And I'm really disappointed that they failed or chose not to go that way.
Oh, I'm disappointed they did too. But I don't even think that I don't even know if I'm with that yet, because I think Spags will figure out a way to get pressure. I don't think they lost this game because they didn't get enough pressure from their D-line. I think they lost this game because they couldn't protect their passer. Like, I think they lost this game offensively more than they did defensively. I mean, I'm not going to say the defense didn't hurt them. Like, that defense, as rough as they played, and we know they can play better, they got stops. They got stops, and they got to stop late. They couldn't protect the passer. Like as bad as they played, they couldn't protect the passer. And somehow, 2-3 is ending up on Dalton Kincaid repeatedly. Right? I think a lot of things, I don't know. I think it was a perfect storm of the game. And Josh always makes them look bad because they don't rush the passer in the same vein that they would normally rush the passer because they're trying to keep his ass corralled in. Like Josh ran for 17 yards. I think that's the switch. Like he ran for 17 yards, and most of it came on one run. I don't know. Let's get to that. Like that game was. We talked about it last week how important that game was. Where are your thoughts now? Because I feel like the Chiefs were coming into it, and we knew it. We talked about it. They're the best team in football. They're the best team in football. I saw a lot of people have them rated as their number 2 team in football, and it sounded like the only reason why they had the Colts ahead of them is because of the record. Like it seemed that way. They are the Super Bowl favorites. By the way, they currently still are. Even after that loss, they are still the Super Bowl favorite.
Not in the playoffs, Super Bowl favorite, baby. Love it.
So where is your mind after Sunday's game?
More frustrated than legitimately concerned. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, I feel like we have this like short-term memory loss that's going on right now, Ron, just as a society, but again, different conversation for a different day. But certainly when it pertains to the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2019 Chiefs were 6-4. They finished 12-4. The 2021 Chiefs were 6-4. They finished 12-5 that season. The 2023 Chiefs started 7-2, then went 2-4 in their next 6 games. We're sitting at 9-6. Ultimately finished the year 11-6 and made it to the playoffs. That was the team that I gave up on in the middle of that Bengals game. But Ron remembers those texts in the middle of that game. I believe I said, I'm glad this team is going to miss the playoffs. They don't deserve to get there.
Yeah, I hate watching. This is my least favorite team. You threw in 6 towels.
It was not a fun team, all right?
Hey, he not only threw in 6 towels, he continued to pick up new ones as if he hadn't thrown the other 6 in. But yes, I distinctly remember.
So the Chiefs are 5-4 right now. If they beat the Broncos in 2 weeks coming out of the bye, they'll be 6-4, which matches their exact same record through 10 weeks for 2019 and 2021. They've come back from this kind of I guess you want to call it a deficit multiple times in this era. I believe they can and will do it again. I think they're better than the Colts. I think they're better than the Broncos. I think they'll probably win out from there down the stretch as well. What's frustrating, Ron, is that some of the same issues seem to be popping up with, and it's like a repeated nature to it.
Like a trend?
Yeah, the pass rush is a problem. The offensive line, I think, is going to get fixed with Josh Simmons' return. So it's not something that I'm overly concerned about, but it did look bad against Buffalo, and the right tackle looked every bit as bad as the left tackle did.
Yeah, but it looked a lot worse when that right tackle came out.
No doubt. Yeah, Wanye is not a guy you want in the offensive line rotation. And then just like weird stuff keeps happening in these 1-score games. So you put all of that together. The vibes are not good around Kansas City right now, but I think it's more of a vibe problem than an actual, I have concern this team's going to miss the playoffs or that they're going to fail in the postseason because of what happened on Sunday against the Bills. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. You brought up the deal for me. And that is, I'm surprised I feel this way, especially with everything that the Chiefs have done and the benefit of the doubt that they absolutely deserve. But man, my feelings about this team when the game is tight, like everything they've done this year has made me forget about everything that we've watched them do the last several years at times. I'm not saying that I'm fully in the space of, all right, they're going to lose. But I am in a space of like, there used to be Flat confidence. All right, we're going into the fourth quarter. It's a one-score game. I don't care which way it is. They're going to make more plays. They're going to make the least amount of mistakes. They're going to be the more prepared. They're going to be the better coach team that has a plan. Boom, we'll be good. They're going to find a way to do it. All 4 games, all of them. As you said, we can tell a similar story in all of them. Now, I will say, I think Buffalo just, of any team, and I've heard Serda say this, they beat the Chiefs. All right, that game shouldn't have been as close as it was, to be honest with you. They just beat the Chiefs. But still, it's just weird things like, hey, how do we know they weren't going to be hunting tight ends in this game? How do we know they weren't going to be hunting Dalton Kincaid? How do we keep getting Dalton Kincaid on Drew Tranquil one-on-one on key third downs? How is that happening? We're not like how like, and then it's still happening in the second half. Like, not adjusting. Very similar. Like, that game was like defensively was weird, like the Chargers game, where it's just like, what's happening? Like,
it was like they didn't realize they were going to attack the middle of the field players. Like, did nobody have the scouting report? Hey, they have 2 guys that matter. It's Dalton Kincaid and it's Khalil Shakir. Nobody else, receiver-wise, matters. It's those 2 guys, and then on the ground, there's this James Cook guy. He's really good. You're going to have to stop him, too. That's it. That's their entire game plan.
And I get James, he's a really good back, and you get it going, and you got the potential run game as well. Which I get that. But, like, they continue to be put in bad situations in coverage. Like, there's nobody going down the field. Like, there's no fear of people going down the field on you. And repeatedly, like, they were playing on their heels the whole time. And they still got stops. But I just, like, in these close games, it goes the opposite. We heard Mahomes allude to it, which is a thing in the post game. Like that, I'm surprised that's how I feel. Like, they're beating the hell out of teams, but like when they come back and they go to play in Denver, then this stupid Denver Broncos team that I don't know how they are where they are. By the way, J.K. Dobbins just limped off. But this Denver team
7-7 ball game right now. That's the Raiders who get cooked by everybody.
Yeah, the Raiders just threw. I mean, Geno's going to blow a gasket. I don't mind it. I mean, we've got Ashton Genty by himself, all alone, on a ball thrown right to him in the hands. That's going to go for about 10 to 15 yards, and at least get you a field goal range. And it hit him in the face, and the damn defensive lineman fell onto it and caught it. And it's still, and still, Bo couldn't do nothing with it. I mean, it's just anyhow. Like, that's my thing. I have confidence because I look at them, BK, and I think they might be. I don't even care the best team in the league. This may be the most well-rounded Chiefs team I've seen. Right? We've never had, as we said, coming to the game, we've never had a top 5 offense and top 5 defense at the same time. And you look at it, and it's just like, what is happening when these games get tight? And I mean, Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Trey Smith, DeJuan Taylor, Creed Humphrey, Drew Tranquil, Nick Bolton, all of these jokers, Trent McDuffie, all of them have been in it. Brian Cookhill, you've been here 6 years. You're not 6, but you've been here a long time. You played Joe Burrow in the playoffs, so you've been here a long time. They've all been here. And they just seem to do stupid stuff in these games. And then it ain't just them. They're out coached. What's Spags doing in this game? Like, it's weird, but it's in every one of them. Like, we can point out to an odd coaching decision or decisions in every one of these weird losses. We can point to just a stupid mistake that is self-inflicted in every one of these losses. I believe they can clean it up. I do. But I'm telling you, if they're in Denver after this bye week and they roll through here, man, and it's a tight game, I don't have the same level of confidence that I've had for the last 6 years. And that is weird. That is weird to me, and it is hard for me not to wonder if it's getting in their head yet.
Yeah, anything that I'm about to say, Ron, is gonna. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're gonna agree with it all because you'll be like, "Yeah, that's why it's gonna be fine." And if you're not a Chiefs fan, you're gonna say, "Well, you're just coping," or "You're telling yourself a story." And I think both things might be true. I don't know which way this is ultimately gonna go, but
I'm glad you're being honest with you. That both could be true.
I just think they're gonna be fine in these types of games because of who they have. Like I think Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, you get to the end of the season. I know we used to talk about this a lot. I used to talk about this with Therese Paylor back in the day, where he would talk about the regular season loss that portends your playoff failures, right? And talk about how like most teams that lose in the playoffs, you had seen a game similar at some point in the regular season. And you might not have known it then. You might not have recognized it then, but it was ultimately a preview of what was to come in January. You saw your deficiencies, wherever that may be. And I think if you're a pessimistic Chiefs fan, that game against Buffalo is what you fear Therese was talking about, where that's the game that portends the playoff failure. The offensive line gets rolled. The defense doesn't come up with the stops. It's a one-score game. You don't have that magic this year, and the offense just feels, for whatever reason, off. My belief, Ron, and this is, again, maybe just me telling myself a story, the Chiefs didn't take that game as seriously as we did. And they kind of came about it the way that I did before you swayed me, which is this game doesn't actually matter. And let's go ahead and we'll run our normal stuff. We're not going to go exotic here. We're not going to show the Bills anything that we would show them in the playoffs. And we'll get into a bye. We've got Josh Simmons coming back. That'll fix our offensive line issues. If we win this game, great. We'd like to, obviously. But we're not going to get crazy here and give them all of the answers to the January test. And the Bills, I think, do this in the opposite way, where they say, we've got to win this game. And then hopefully we continue to have the same success in January. We've seen this story for years in the playoffs, right? They seem to approach the regular season games differently than they do the playoff games. So, again, that's the story I'm telling myself right now.
You're doing the Serda. You're doing the Serda. You're doing this Serda thing where it's they take this serious. Dude,
the game. I can't possibly explain the game plan other than that, because it was a terrible game plan on both sides of the football. So that's all I've got.
But they're capable of having terrible game plans.
But okay, so
but not in the playoffs. They never have bad game plans in the playoffs.
There's been 2 games this season where they were legitimately outcoached from start to finish. Week 1 against the Chargers and last week against the Bills. And that's not something we can say very often about this coaching staff and this Chiefs team. And it was just week 1, it was Chargers just shocked him by being like, hey, we're just going to throw the hell out of the ball and we're going to test you guys. We're going to test that young secondary and get after it. The Broncos just blocked a punt on the goal line. Unbelievable.
I haven't caught that yet. I'm telling you,
Ron just saw me out of the corner of his eye. He's like, what the hell is this guy laughing about? And that's it.
That's God. This is just one of the worst fucking games I've ever seen in my life.
It's every week with these guys. It's every week with the Denver Broncos.
So week 1, and then last week, it was frustrating because last week it was like, their wide receivers don't challenge you. Like, like going into that game, we were like, their wide receivers aren't the problem. Like, it's the tight ends, it's Allen, it's Cook. And then the Bills, Cook rushes for over 100 yards after the Chiefs have been really great against running backs for most of the season. And Cook seems to be a problem for them every time they play for whatever reason.
Here in a second.
It is. And then they just set it up multiple times over and over again. It didn't matter if it was Dalton Kincaid or Dawson Knox. They just set up mismatches against the Chiefs linebackers and they were attacking those. And then it's like Khalil Shakir still has like 7 catches, but doesn't amount to that much. They don't have wide receivers who test you. Who test you this season in their passing game is their tight ends. And then James Cook creating explosive plays. And they just did what they wanted, and they dictated the flow of the game, which is not something that happens to the Chiefs very often. But it's happened twice this season, which I think is more concerning than years past.
You guys are so disrespectful. Me and Serda have had this fight. I vehemently disagree with him, and now you on this, BK. But I don't know if you fully believe this. You may, as you did say, just be telling yourself this a bit. I am sorry. Their asses are 5-3 coming into the game. They just watched this stupid Denver Broncos team that Bo Nix, again, they've just lost 2 yards and they're going to run themselves into the lead of this game after they blow this. They just and they have the 3rd best running game in the league, but Peyton does not give a damn about that. They watched that stupid team win another game that they played terribly in to get to 7-2. They watched Tennessee lose and the Chargers get to 6-3. I am sorry. If they're in the, hey, let's hold it back for January business nonsense, let's hold stuff back, then they deserve what they get. All right, that they deserve. I don't believe they were doing that. I don't believe.
All Bo Nix did was lose yards and go 3 and out.
I know it. I just said I know it. I'm sorry. I just don't. I believe Joey Bosa was kicking their ass. I don't believe they were holding anything back.
But the game plan was also trash. Like, I can give the Bills their kudos because they flat out outcoached and outplayed the Chiefs. Hat tip to the Bills. They deserve all of the credit. They beat you up and down the field all day long. And also, the Chiefs' game plan was horrific on both sides of the ball in that one.
A lot of it was because the Bills made the game plan horrific. And
I don't agree. I think the process was flawed. I think the process sucked in that game, dude.
I know you don't agree. I think a lot of it, and yes, the Chiefs had injuries. The Chiefs, by the 4th quarter, had lost both of their starting tackles. Josh Simmons, pretty good. I don't, glad to see he's back in the building, by the way. Right? Jawan Taylor gets on your nerves sometimes, but don't put that joker in there. All right? Like, Isaiah Pacheco didn't play in this game. I understand that 1-2 punch. Maybe they run the ball a little bit more. But I don't think they were rolling into the game plan of, hey, man, we win it, that'd be nice. If we lose it, not too big a deal. I don't think that they're going and the season's over for them or they think it's done. I think they wanted to win that game. I do. I think they wanted to win that game. I think Buffalo just outplayed them, and outcoached them, and not outcoached them and outplayed them due to the fact of, yeah, man, we don't really care about this game. We'll keep the good stuff for January. We'll keep it. And now I do think after these teams play like they play every damn year, I do believe the Chiefs coaches, once getting film of what they're doing right now, have better adjustments later on in the season because I think they're better coaches, right? I'm with you. I do think it was weird that Dalton Kincaid is ending up on Drew Tranquill by himself, right? I also do think there was some flat mistakes. That one where Dawson Knox ran down the field, the sideline. Watson and Cook didn't know what the hell they were supposed to do.
Ron, none of this is new. This happens every year against the Bills, dude. It's the same game every year, and every year the response is, uh-oh. Oh, boy. Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe this is going to be the year where things are different. Buffalo seems to be the better team every single year. The last time that the Chiefs beat the Bills in the regular season was when Clyde ran all over them. And Clyde, by the way, God bless him. 2 snaps, 2 carries in this game. Unbelievable. Good night, Elijah Mitchell. It's over, buddy. I think the Chiefs treat these games against the Buffalo Bills the way that Andy treats his first 15 plays. And what I mean by that is I think people view like the scripted plays as these are your best plays. When in reality, the scripted plays are to find out, all right, how does the opposing defense respond to these personnel packages? How do they respond to these route concepts? Once they put that on film and we can see what they're going to do to cover it, we now have our answers on what we can do to adjust the rest of the game. I think the Chiefs basically treat the entire game against the Bills that way in the regular season to find out, how is this team going to respond to all of our stuff? Let's get those answers now, and then we will have the answers to them once we get to January. Because I think they view it as, we're still making the playoffs, we're fine, and this happens every year. We're not worried about it.
I think they have confidence that they're going to make the playoffs, Serda. I don't believe that they want to go and play all their games on the road. I don't believe that I'm not saying that they're scared of it. I'm saying to you, I don't think they're in it for being a 6 or a 7 seed or just slipping in and then having to play all their games on the road. As much as I know you've made it very clear you don't care where they have to go to, BK. I'm not scared either, but I don't think that they're saying, hey man, let's not show them what we're doing, right now in January, as opposed to getting the toughest road that they possibly can, right? Like I don't think that 11-6 year where they only got one home playoff game was something they were thrilled about, right? I don't think they want to continue to do that. One of the big reasons why this team has done what they've done is because of what they've done in the regular season. And I don't think they're just punting on these games to get bad seats. Like, they're out of the playoffs right now. Shame on them if they went in here and said, hey, man, we're going to put Drew Tranquil on him, and just for them to think that that's what we're going to do when we play him again, if we play him again. Hey, Jalen Watson, we're going to have you just get brain dead like you did in several other games and get stupid and forget who you're covering. You too, Brian Cook. Like, hey, let him go through a little bit, Jalen Moore. I don't believe that is. I don't believe that is the case. I don't. So I think it's just so disrespectful to you, sir.
Geno Smith is hurt now.
Yeah, he is. It's all right,
man. We're about to get Kenny Pickett.
They may have a chance.
This may be the worst game I've ever seen.
Is he still wearing a glove? By the way, I know another thing. You're and people, I've been seeing this too. I heard Serda make a big deal about it with Rocky on the post game. By the way, check out the post game after every single Chiefs game right here on Foolish Club Media. I enjoy it. I don't like when the Chiefs lose, but when the Chiefs do lose, I feel like Rocky is a man that is about to be at the end of his rope by the end of the show. And it is a very entertaining, slow watch when Rocky looks like he is about to snap. And his hit piece man and favorite is Jawan Taylor. And I think he has been getting pissed that Jawan Taylor has not been the one that's been the culprit. So he cannot get after Jawan Taylor like he wants to. So it's crazy. But I know for you, because I've heard this a lot, the usage and how, and I think it really showed up in this game because this was the worst we've seen the passing game since Worthy has come back. And I'm talking about not just Rice, but since Worthy has come back. That Baltimore game, the passing game has looked easy, crisp for the most part. It didn't this way. And now people are wondering what's up with Xavier Worthy.
So, again, I'm going to preface this, Ron, because I don't know how much of this is injury related. It's possible Worthy is dealing with that ankle plus his shoulder, and that's affecting things more than we maybe are letting on right now. But when you look at the way that Worthy has been used with Rasheed on the field, again, at a correlation, causation, I'm not sure, but it's one of the two. He's just not as productive in the time that we've seen him and Rasheed both out there. Last year, it was early on in the season, but 2 for 47, 2 for 17, 2 for 17. This year, since Rasheed has returned to the field for the Kansas City Chiefs, the usage has once again dipped. 3 for 35, 5 for 53, 3 for 23. Does not have a touchdown in any of those games. He looks like he's going back to that gadget role where it's like designer plays and shot plays down the field. I just don't know if that's where he's best utilized, man. How he was being used earlier this season is a different guy than what we are seeing since Rashee Rice's return. And how he was utilized down the stretch last year is far different than what we have seen so far this season. If they want somebody to be that down the field stretcher, the best guy for that role is Tyquan Thornton. It's not Xavier Worthy. He has not actually been great in that specific role in his time with the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is one thing I'd like them to figure out during this bye week is what's the plan to best utilize Rashee, Kelsey, and Worthy to get the most out of all three of them as we get into the second half of the regular season.
Listen, it seems like they're just using him as a decoy. Like, and then little quick stuff as you're talking about gadget stuff. It seems like they're just using him as a decoy right now to run down the field and clear stuff out. And they rarely ever throw to him, which I understand because whenever he gets going down the field, he scares the hell out of everybody, and everybody is running with him. And you see repeatedly, I've seen a lot of him running down the field and Thornton and now Rice either coming behind him and using the opening because safeties go with him. And it seems like that's the only way, but there's got to be other routes, right? The deep over, I never really see him run that. Like Diggs going across, he used to run that a lot. That is different than how they use Rashee at times too. Like I just think they've got to use more of what he can do because it does feel like to me that it is becoming more all right, decoy, clear guy, and screen here or something. And like I don't know. His first big play against the Ravens was a fade down the sideline. They don't really that's not even something that they really do a lot with. And I know he opens up a ton for people with just the routes he runs, but I don't know, man. It seems like they use him to try to get others open more so than they ever use others to try to get him in situations and matchups. And that's got to shift and change. So we are live here. I challenged Serda the other day.
Those just been sitting by your desk
What is this?
I challenged Serda, and you know what? I think we're going to.
I just threw mine in the air fryer because Ron made me buy these at 2 p.m. today.
I wanted to taste the RV steak bites.
Have those been sitting by your desk for the entire hour?
Yes, they have.
Also, when you bought them, were they 1,000,000 degrees?
They were hot.
Were they? It was outrageous. I almost threw them out the window when I pulled them out of the bag. And it says on the thing, it's like extremely hot. Be careful. I was like, why are these so hot?
I tasted one, and I'll give my thoughts after I taste another one. Because my thing is how is this?
I got to get mine out of the air fryer. Hang on.
And I'll be honest, as you can see, there is still some pink there. And I was a bit surprised that there was I'm trying to figure out how do they pull this off?
I assumed those were going to be not looking like that.
It's not. Listen, it's okay. I mean,
it's not. Yeah, you're not going to a chop house here.
It's clearly they're not back there cooking them immediately. These are packaged of some sort, but they do have a little pinkage. I see the commercial. I'm like, they're not bad. I said, sir, we got to try these.
They need to figure out. So, listen, Arby's, if you want to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you.
You're going to add something else to them?
I love a beef and cheddar. Love it.
They need to figure out the commercials because they don't look good on the commercials.
They don't look good right now. They smell smoky, I suppose.
But see if yours. I've got some pink in mine.
That's shocking. I just figured they were well done.
I did too. It's okay. Oh, there's too much there.
There's some pink in mine too.
Oh, it is.
And that's after you air fried them. So that's impressive.
It's not very juicy though.
Now is it real
air fryer?
No, I don't know. It does come with a dipping sauce, pepper. It does. I didn't get with that. sugar.
Yeah,
It's all right.
App says, please
Please
stir
before eating.
because it's 1,000,000 degrees for some reason.
They're not doing that in Texas. They just gave it to
It says, caution, extremely hot. Please stir before eating. When I pulled it out of the bag,
and give me
it was
that
so
shit.
hot that I like almost threw it across the car because it was burning my hand.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to taste. It's not bad.
It tastes
They-
kind of like it's like beef jerky, basically.
They got it. Yeah,
Oh.
that's a good call. They got them they got a lot of different options. They got it on a sandwich. They got it on a
Yeah, I would never eat this again, but it's fine.
I'm sorry, Bo Nix just sucks. I mean, God, man.
Just hit Pat Bryant one more time, big dog. Let's go, Bob.
Like, what do we got them next week? This shit, man. They better throw. They better get 2-3 picks.
They're
I
about
mean,
to be
it's
8-2. The 10-7 win over the Raiders.
They have an 13-11 barn burner versus the Jets. They got an 18-15, and I had to sit and watch every single play of that crap live, and that was awful. God,
And then they had that Giants game where they let them score like 30 points to.
we were down 26-8 with 5 minutes left. Here goes Bo on the run again, throwing it out, throwing it away. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, they beat the Titans by 8 points. It was a
I said
one-score
this-
game against Tennessee.
I think I said this off air, and I know we got to leave. By the way, we were going to do that on the nightly fix, but since we're live here, why not, man? We're just we're going to skip the nightly fix. What we're going to do, but we'll come back to you Monday.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll see this
I
back.
didn't really want to get off the air for 5 minutes and then just come back on and go live for another.
Yeah, that
hour.
was pointless. But we said it off air. It has more of a Tebow feel, like to them, where they're finding these ways to win. Like I've seen people compare them because man, the Broncos have a really good defense and a good football team, and compared it to what the Chiefs were doing last year. That's a block in the back, so might as well just stop. To compare it to what the Chiefs did last year, just finding these weird ways to win. But the Chiefs were doing it. It was like, damn, there's Mahomes, man. You can't give him the ball late. Like you just. That's not what's happening. This is Tim Tebow. You remember that time Tim Tebow completed 2 passes at Arrowhead and found a way to win? Like where he wouldn't be doing anything, nothing at all. That's what Bo Nix does. And then there's like a easy button somewhere where Bo's got to deal with somebody who's like, all right, Bo, you get 10 minutes, 10 real life minutes to be able to play like you're at the complete best of your ability. And then he does it at some point in the fourth quarter, and then bam, they do it. And it's every week with this guy.
My first ever sports bet I placed on the Broncos versus the Steelers playoff game that Tebow won in overtime. So I had the bet on the Steelers in that game, as you can probably imagine. Didn't go well. That was able to portend future sports betting failures for me. Out of curiosity, who are the teams in the AFC that you guys fear the most as a Chiefs fan? We'll get out of here on this. I know we don't have to spend much time on it, but
shout out to the 600 people who are live with us right now, by the way. That is
nice.
I don't really want to eat the last 2.
Well, then eat them, man. It's not the question. We moved on from the steak.
I think
Buffalo.
it's the Bills 100%, and then I think it's kind of the Ravens for me. Like even at 3-5, like that's a totally different team right now than it was when the Chiefs played them. And like they're a little scary here moving forward. They've got to do even more work than the Chiefs have to do. But like I think the Ravens are scary. I think everybody else, like the Colts are good and they're going to be a playoff team, but like it feels like we know exactly what the recipe is to beat the Colts.
Colts are the Titans when the Titans won the 1 seed.
Yeah,
it's a 1-for-1 comparison, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they're
like we know exactly what you got to do to beat the Titans, and the good teams will do that, or the Colts, and the good teams will do that against them.
I'll tell you what my fear was: the Ravens are going to track down the Steelers, and they're going to find a way to win that division. And this is a great fear for them too. But somehow the Chiefs are going to fool around and be the team that has to go to Baltimore. Like their seedings will match up.
Sure.
They'll be 3-6 or whatever,
4-5.
and they'll have to go to Baltimore. That's the thing is like I don't know. They feel like they got to go 7-1 or run the table to win this division, to avoid having to have a road of playing all road games to get there. And I don't need to see that. I really don't. I don't.
I agree with you guys. I think the two teams that I fear the most are Buffalo 1, Baltimore 2. And that's kind of an amazing thing considering where this AFC is around those teams. Because the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, none of those three are currently leading their respective divisions.
I think
two of them aren't even in the playoffs.
I think the Chargers are scarier than the Broncos.
Gino, by the way,
losing,
Gino has found his way back in this game.
Losing Joe Alt is massive. I know they made a trade for Trevor Penning, but their offensive line is going to wind up holding them back. But the Chargers are a better team than the Broncos are, in my opinion.
Gino has found his way back into this game and just got a dime for about 20.
There you go.
If they find a way to win this game,
Let's do it, boys. Let's do it.
We've gotten over 700 in that answer. All right, appreciate everybody rolling with you. We might start doing live a little bit more on this. We got Denver next week on the road. Shit gets real interesting if they lose that game. real interesting. We are out.